Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It's Wednesday the 20th of March. In this video we're sticking with the Delphi case today, following directly on from yesterday's video. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, then I give you permission to pause this and go and watch that first and then come back to this. However, you don't have to, it's not compulsory. Yeah, I'm going to stick with what came out at the hearing concerning the motion to dismiss Richard Allen's entire case. Of course, Judge Frances Gull won't dismiss. I'd be utterly shocked if she did, but a lot has come out. They've got a lot into the record. That's very, very useful moving forward. Why? Well, we're going to carry on watching, aren't we?
It's time for you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."
First of all, I've got a correction from yesterday's video. Bob from the Defence Diaries podcast had said in his live stream straight after the hearing, when he was really tired, that the kidnap video on Johnny Messer's phone was of a young girl. That's now been corrected. They didn't actually say girl, they said individual, and it does seem, based on court records, that perhaps that kidnap video was concerning a man. Whichever way, there was a kidnap video where Johnny Messer was involved in kidnap at gunpoint. That shows his violent tendencies. Okay, so that's that. Now, I listened to the Unravelling, someone that they had on their panel. I can't remember her name offhand, but she'd also been to the hearing and had taken copious notes. So, I'm going to play you a couple of clips from the Unravelling. Let's stick with phone data. They've tried to get phone data from Patrick Westfall's phone, but there's nothing before October 2023.
I don't know if she allowed this one, but they tried to submit phone data from Westfall's phone. And that's when, somewhere in that conversation, they got it on record that, but I don't think she allowed it, that there was no phone data on Patrick's phone before October 12th, 2023.
Why is that? Well, because if you're trying to go back to 2017, would there still be data out there in the ether? Things have changed a lot in the last 7 years. So would it even be possible to get phone data from 2017? Not that Frances Gull allowed it anyway, but it's just an interesting snippet. Then we get to this really huge, in my opinion, massive piece of information. And this came from Todd Click. Todd Click is one of the 3 law enforcement officers who investigated the Odinists in relation to the Delphi case all the way from 2017 up until Greg Ferenczi, one of the other guys who were investigating it. Greg Ferenczi was from the FBI, was shot dead by an ex-corrections officer, allegedly. And after Greg's murder, they stopped the investigation. So isn't that convenient that they take one of them out and then the investigation into the Odinist stops? I've gone too far down the rabbit hole. Perhaps that's unrelated. However, back to Todd Click giving evidence at Monday's hearing. Todd said that he wrote a letter when the PCA, after Richard Allen's arrest, came out. And he was deeply concerned that the information that they got on Richard Allen that was in the PCA was much less detailed, much less convincing than the wealth of information that they'd accrued about these Odinists. Todd Click felt that Elvis was involved. He also said that when he was invited in to a meeting with the Indiana State Police, this happened.
Click said him, Ferenczi, and Murphy all felt strongly that Elvis was involved. And then Andy asked him what he did with Delphi after Ferenczi. That happened with Ferenczi, and he said nothing until Allen was arrested, and he read the PCA because he felt that they had collected much more compelling evidence than the PCA. And April 28th, 2023, Click sent a certified letter to Nick to make sure he knew of their investigative work, and they submitted that letter. Prosecution objected to it, but Fran allowed that one, which was awesome, and she said it was because of the weight of what it might say. And then they also submitted a summary from Click that he had included with that letter, and it was objected to, but Fran allowed that one too. Click was contacted mid-August 2023 by Mullins from Nick's office asking for a meeting so they could try to put his mind at ease. And he went to that meeting. That was in August, and Click provided them with a thumb drive, including interviews, cell phone data, etc. In Click's opinion, they didn't seem interested in it. When he agreed to that meeting, he was made to believe that he was going to be shown all this evidence proving that Allen was actually guilty. And that did not happen. And when Click walked out of that office in the ISP post, Brad Holder was sitting in the lobby.
So he thought that he was going and they were going to show him evidence that would convince him that Richard Allen was the guy. Maybe, information that they'd not included in the PCA. But no, nothing like that happened. And then here's the kicker. When he came out of that meeting, who was sitting in the lobby? Brad Holder was sitting in the lobby of the Indiana State Police. What, just happened to be, taking a walk, and he meandered his way into the office of the Indiana State Police and just park himself down in a lobby. So who arranged that? Because meandering in off the street, I don't think really happened, did it? Who arranged it? Well, obviously, the Indiana State Police. Jerry Holman, someone else. I don't know. To just have Brad sitting there. So was the purpose of Brad just sitting there a complete coincidence that they'd invited Brad into a meeting with the Indiana State Police? Why? Were they interviewing him? Was he a suspect? Was he interviewing him and just sat him in the lobby there waiting for this other meeting to be over? Or was he parked there intentionally so that Todd Click would see him? Was that meeting arranged purposefully straight after that of Todd Click? Was Brad Holder invited in for a meeting straight after Todd Click because they wanted to keep Brad apprised of what Todd Click actually knew? So they weren't investigating Brad, they were actually investigating Todd Click. I don't know. It's just highly, highly suspicious, and this was said by a now retired law enforcement officer under oath. So you better believe that that happened. So what was Brad doing there? What was the meeting with the Indiana State Police about? Also interesting that this is the same guy whose interview on February 17th, 2017, 3 days after the girls were found, right at the beginning of the investigation, his interview was, magically, mistakenly erased. Yeah.
And then Andy's drive of audio recording a Brad Holder interview, which was done August 30th of 2023. Oh, so they said, objection, that lady prosecutor said, objection, can you explain how that's relevant to the 2017 interview? And I swear to God, Andy goes, well, it's a missing interview, so he's like, if it's different from the one-page summary I have, he's like, that would make it like, hello. If this interview that you did in 2023 is different than this 1-page, 6-paragraph report, obviously that's huge, because why the hell? And the judge said, based on Andy's motion, that information's irrelevant, so she didn't admit it.
And he's the dad of Abby Williams' boyfriend. Interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Touch, good girl.